James the Elder, also known as James the Greater, was one of the 12 apostles chosen by Jesus. He was the son of Zebedee and the brother of John, the beloved disciple. From the very beginning, James stood out as a man of passion and courage. He was a fisherman by trade, accustomed to the roar of the sea and the pull of heavy nets. But his life took a dramatic turn when Jesus walked along the shores of Galilee and called him to become a fisher of men. When Jesus called, James immediately left everything behind: his nets, his boat, and even his father. There was something magnetic about the call of Christ that stirred his heart. James, alongside his brother John, followed without hesitation. The two brothers would soon earn a unique nickname from Jesus, Boanerges, meaning sons of thunder. It was a name that captured their fiery temperament and zeal. James quickly became part of Jesus' inner circle, along with Peter and John. These three were privileged to witness some of the most sacred moments in Jesus' ministry. They saw miracles no one else did, heard words that others would only learn later, and experienced the awe of divine revelation up close. James's loyalty and boldness made him one of Jesus' most trusted followers. One of the first major events James witnessed was the raising of Jairus' daughter. While the crowd mourned, Jesus took only Peter, James, and John into the room. James stood by as Jesus took the girl's hand and spoke life into her. "Little girl, arise," Jesus said, and she rose. James's faith deepened that day. He realized he was following not just a prophet, but the Son of God himself. Later, James was present on the mountain of Transfiguration. The sun dipped low as Jesus led James, Peter, and John up a high mountain to pray. Suddenly, his face shone like lightning, his clothes gleamed brighter than snow, and Moses and Elijah appeared, speaking with him. James fell to the ground in awe, as the voice of God thundered from heaven. "This is my beloved Son. Listen to him." That moment marked James forever. Despite these heavenly experiences, James's fiery nature sometimes got the better of him. When a Samaritan village refused to welcome Jesus, James and John, in their zeal, asked, "Lord, do you want us to call fire down from heaven to destroy them?" Jesus rebuked them gently, teaching them that his mission was not destruction, but redemption. It was a lesson James would carry with him: the power of love over wrath. James's mother, Salome, once approached Jesus with a bold request. She wanted her sons, James and John, to sit at Jesus' right and left hand in his kingdom. Jesus responded with a question that pierced the heart. "Can you drink the cup I am going to drink?" Without hesitation, James answered, "We can." Jesus knew what that would mean: suffering and martyrdom. James had spoken words that would soon shape his destiny. As the ministry of Jesus grew, so did the opposition against him. James stood beside his master through every storm: the angry crowds, the traps of the Pharisees, the misunderstandings of the people. He watched Jesus perform miracles, feed multitudes, and walk on water. Each event drew James deeper into his conviction that Jesus truly was the Messiah. When Jesus was arrested in Gethsemane, James was among those who fled in fear. It was a moment of shame that would haunt him. Yet after the resurrection, when Jesus appeared to his disciples, James's heart burned again with hope. The risen Christ restored his courage. The once fearful fisherman became a bold preacher of the gospel. After Jesus ascended into heaven, James became one of the pillars of the early church in Jerusalem. He preached fearlessly to Jews and Gentiles alike, testifying that Jesus was alive. His words carried power and authority, for they came from a man who had walked with the Savior and seen his glory. Thousands came to faith through his ministry. But James's bold preaching drew the attention of King Herod Agrippa. The king, eager to please the Jewish leaders, sought to crush the growing Christian movement. James became the first target. Herod ordered that James be arrested and brought before him. Yet even in chains, James's spirit did not break. According to early Christian tradition, James's courage deeply affected those around him, even his accusers. One of the guards who witnessed James's faith repented and confessed Christ, choosing to die alongside him. James's influence reached beyond words. It stirred hearts even in the shadow of death. Herod sentenced James to death by the sword, making him the first apostle to be martyred. On the day of his execution, James walked calmly to the place of death. The same fiery man who once wanted to call down fire from heaven now faced the blade with peace. He had learned what it truly meant to drink the cup of his Lord. His death sent shockwaves through the early church, but his example strengthened the believers. They saw in James a man transformed from a fisherman of Galilee to a fearless witness of Christ. His sacrifice inspired others to stand firm in their faith, even in persecution. The blood of James became seed for the church's growth. Today, James the Elder is remembered as one of the great apostles of faith and courage. Pilgrims still journey to the site of his resting place in Santiago de Compostela, Spain, where his legacy endures. His story reminds us that following Jesus means surrendering everything, our comfort, our pride, even our lives. Yet, in that surrender, we find a glory that never fades. James's thunder may have once come from passion, but in the end, it roared with divine power and unshakable faith.